All right, good afternoon, Urban Faith. We are here again. We are so excited for our interview today with Chef Q, who is the executive chef and owner of Q1227 in Sacramento, California. He has a tremendous story we'd like to share with you all, and it's just exciting. I'm so excited to have Chef Q with us, making an impact, being successful. Chef Q, thank you for coming on with us today.
Thank you for having us, man. This is great. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And so my first question for you is really a basic one, but I think that it's important, just in knowing who you are and what you've done. What made you decide to become a chef?
Well, that's the $1 million question. I don't know. I think it was just circumstances, right? Of course, growing up in a large family, cooking in the South, me being the youngest of my family, I was kind of like the hip baby for my mom. So I was always in the kitchen with mom, always couldn't go outside and play with my older brothers because I was the youngest. Noticeably, I'm saying not the baby. I was the youngest. But so she kept me close. And with that, I was part of her Sunday dinners when she would cook these big, huge dinners for church family, church members, and the pastor would come over and things like that. So I was a part of that. So it wasn't until later in life when I was, needing to change my career in the military, and I thought, let me try this out. And so it wasn't like I grew up saying I wanted to become a chef. That did not happen. I wanted to do anything but.
That makes sense. And it's just amazing that you said your circumstances and things that kind of were instilled in you came out later. There were those natural points of connections. What would you describe, just to paint a picture of what Q1227 is about? What is your food? What is your experience? What would you say defines kind of your style of approaching food and culinary world?
Well, that's a great question. So for me, food is a universal language. And for me, food is love. And I really believe that every plate that we present is an expression of love. I think today's market, fast food is really taken over. And we don't have that family time now. Now, be it with COVID, families was kind of forced to the dinner table. But pre-COVID, to have that dinner table conversation where parents could instill in their kids, ask their kids, what do you want to be? Even something as simple as having a prayer over your dinner. That was missing. That was missing. So I think for me at the restaurant, it is bringing all of that back. It is to say food is a universal language. Food is a language of love. And if we can omit all of the hate, omit everything that's going on outside, and let's just break bread together. It is a common language that everyone has to do. And I think in our restaurant, we strive to do that. We have a diverse crowd. We have a diverse staff. And we aim to just exude love. It's all about love for us. We do it with every dish. We do it with every guest. And that's what we're about, really what we're about is just showing our guests love.
And that's amazing work, just thinking about food, bringing people together and really being able to reach them where they at. I just resonate so much with that. And so I wonder, I know one of the major things that happened to you is navigating, going through that pandemic that we all are just still kind of coming out of and working through. And you were so concerned about being impactful and sharing with your community. What is it that drove you to positively impact your community, and how did you do that? What did you do for the community during the pandemic?
Well, I think we're blessed to be a blessing. And I like to say I'm from a hood, maybe not your hood, but a hood. And I grew up with very meager means. So now I'm in a position to where to give back is just a part of who we are at the restaurant. So we, during COVID, we fed the frontline workers. We took box lunches to the hospitals to feed the nurses on night staff. we did that. The community organization that we partner with at the restaurant, the Daughters of Zion Enterprise, we fed over 40,000 families in the year. So I think that's very important, to be able to give back. The law of sowing and reaping. If you don't give, then it won't come back. And I really think that's a huge part of the success at the restaurant, is because at the restaurant, 10% of our proceeds go towards the homeless situation, feeding them, giving them clothes, that sort of thing. And I think because we're doing that, I think that's a huge part of our success. I really do.
Wow. Did you say 40,000 families? Like, that is
40,000 family in the year. Yep.
that
Partner
is
with the organization.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
But you know what? It really is amazing, but there's so much more work to do. There's so many families that still was without. So we're not happy there. It's like there's so much more we can do. So now my prayer really seriously is like, what's next? What can I do to impact more, to help more? And with the restaurant, now what we're doing this year is I'm gonna focus on all of my vendors coming to the table to help with the need. We just started what we call the Q campaign at the restaurant, to where we're asking our customers as they come in, if you want to help, you can contribute to the cause. So we're doing all of that with the platform called Q1227 Restaurant.
Wow, that's amazing. I have a question. Just what role did your faith play in helping you get through the pandemic? And I mean, that impact is just incredible. Can you talk a little bit more about how your faith, you've heard it in kind of the way that you communicate. How did your faith help you get through that, and then not just survive it, but thrive in the midst of it?
Faith was everything. For me, it's faith, family, and food, and in that order. Without my faith, I don't think I would have been able to have the faith enough to even venture out, opening this restaurant in a 98% white community, being a Black owner. That took a lot of faith. But then to be bold enough to say, we're going to play Christian jazz music in the restaurant, to be bold enough to say 10% of our proceeds is going to go towards the community. And I think that it helped me out a lot in my faith, to say, this is what I believe, and to put it out there even from the beginning. But the community has appreciated it, I should say. So my faith is very important to me, and I don't hide it. My family is why I cook, and to leave a legacy for my family.
Wow. So you talking about how your faith has just impacted every area of your life, and especially this journey. What brought you to decide to create the restaurant, and then to move? I'm just hearing all these different things. The restaurant really serving not just food, but serving community, right? And serving as a platform to care for community and empower others. What brought you into deciding to start the restaurant, and then to launch all of these other ways to impact from there?
So first of all, I mean, I got the restaurant is only a year and a half old, but I've got 25 plus years in the industry. So, never been really like taught about entrepreneurship. I had to learn it on my own. I had to really read about it, what it was about. And then again, with my faith, having the faith enough that I can do this, that my God is with me, he's supporting me, and I can do this. But the restaurant is really a platform for God's purpose. It really is a platform for God's purpose. And everything that I do in the restaurant, even though it's my profession, he gave me this profession for a purpose. And I first had to identify my purpose. And once I identified my purpose, I can use my profession for that purpose. And my purpose is to be a blessing to others. And so everything I do has to have that in it. And this restaurant is just a small part. So yeah, everything that we do in the restaurant is wrapped up into the purpose. And I never get the two confused. I have a profession, but I also have a purpose. And my purpose is to be, you know, first a child of God and a husband and a father. And then I got to embody everything Christ-like. And I can't stop embodying who Christ called me to be because I open a restaurant or when I walk into the restaurant doors. I got to just show that even more. So for me, the restaurant has become a platform for me to, you know, show God's love to people. And you know, it's not that, and I really want to be clear, it's not that we're, you know, we're I don't know, preaching Jesus to them when they walk in the door.
You're not hitting them over the head with the Bible.
No, we're not. And I think that's very important to understand too, because we got all walks of life that come through that door.
Yeah.
And just to show love is probably more than they've gotten in their environment. So I think it's very important. So and so with the restaurant, everyone we hire, we have a culture and it's called RICH. Respect, integrity, commitment, and hospitality. And for us, everything about the restaurant has to embody that. And for us, that rich culture embody my faith. So you can't separate the two. It's like separating me from being a black male and a male. Like I'm one of the same. So I'm a child of God and I'm a chef. I'm one of the same.
Yeah, so all those things blend together. One of the things that you've mentioned and talked about a little bit is just how you work with other organizations and how you're working together, creating that culture as a staff. Can you talk a little bit about why is partnership and working together important, even as you've achieved so much, you have so much personal success, but why is it important to work with other people and be able to do that?
Well, I think it's extremely important because we can accomplish so much more. I think that when we're on an island by ourselves and try and accomplish, I think, you know, we may get tired. We may get frustrated. We may not see the movement that we want to see, but if we can partner, if we can lay down our pride and be humble enough to partner with another organization to say, hey, we need help. You need help. This is what I can bring to the table. You know, and then I think we can accomplish so much more, so much more. One can chase 1,000, two can chase 10. So I think that partnership is all throughout the Bible. So I think partnership is huge. Now, I will say this, that I think partnership with the same purpose is huge. You know, I think that's huge. So I was fortunate enough to, you know, we partnered with the DOD and you know, youth and the less fortunate people of the Sacramento area is what their embody is, and that was very dear to me. So that's why we work great as a team.
How is it that, or why is it that you think you've been able to survive this pandemic and thrive in it, when you could have been focused on, you know, being afraid of just surviving as so many people were impacted? Why is it that you think that you've been able to make it through this and make an impact at the same time?
So I would definitely say my faith, but I would say support system. I would say my family, my wife. I would say that, you know, they all had my back. They were all in my corner, supporting me, cheering me on, that sort of thing. And my counsels, like, I would sit down with my wife and I'd say, hey, honey, I'm thinking about X, Y, Z. And we would pray about it. And then we would move forward or not move forward. But it wasn't just me randomly thinking of, oh, let's do X, Y, Z, and then moving forward. Let me wait. Let me pray about it. Let me ask God, is this what you want me to do?
Yeah. So now, certainly within the past week, you've gotten more reopening happening in California. Yes. The pandemic we're seeing a great change, and you know, people are feeling like we're coming out of it. Do you see a difference in your restaurant, in your community now on the other side of that date, as people are still really trying to get back out there?
What's interesting for us is that we've had a diversity of a crowd all throughout the pandemic. Whether we were outside dining or patio only, I'm sorry, or takeout only. We had a diversity of a crowd. So for us, I think that, we just embody, again, I'll say it again, we embody that love spirit. And when people come into our restaurant, I literally want them to drop all of the stuff that they get from the outside when they come
Yeah.
in, and just be cared for, service. We're in a service industry. We're in the hospitality industry. So we want to just love on you. The 2 hours or so that you're in our restaurant, that's our job, is just to love on you and to treat you with the utmost love and care. And that's what we do. So, so from that, we've continued to see an increase in people coming out. From that, we've gotten crazy reviews online that people talk about it, and people are saying, I got to go get there. And now, like on the weekends, we're 3-4 weeks out for reservations. So our biggest problem is that guests can't get in when they want to get in. So, even to the point to where Yelp ranked us in the top 25, actually top 20 restaurant to visit in Sacramento region. We're a year and a half old. I can only contribute that to my faith and praying about every step we take. Again, I've had my share of opening restaurants. I've had my share of, owners saying, oh, let's just get, in so many words, let's just get the dollar, get the dollar, get the dollar. For us, it's no, slow down. Let's build a relationship. Let's love on our guests. Let's treat them with hospitality. Let's honor them. Let's, and all of that. And now the flip side of it is, I demand our guests to respect our staff. So trust me, during the BLM movement, we had certain guests that would come into our restaurant that, because they had a diversity staff, but a Black owner, they wanted to see all Black staff. So they treated our diverse staff differently. And again, it's love both ways. We're going to love on you, but you got to love on us. You just can't, disrespect our staff.
Yeah.
So I found myself at some point, earlier, talking to some guests.
Yeah.
So that's important to me. Everyone's treated equally.
Yeah, and really establishing that culture of love in the restaurant. Yes. I'm curious as to whether or not I hear you making such a difference in Sacramento, and certainly in the community, and your guests, your staff who come to your restaurant. Have you noticed a difference just in the small time that your restaurant's been open, and how the community may have been before you started and now?
I have. So the
What are
Chamber of
some of
Commerce,
those things that you've seen?
So the Chamber of Commerce have come out and really just recognized us as not only being a top restaurant in the region, but a Black-owned restaurant in the region. The mayor has come and ate at our place and enjoyed himself immensely. And now that we have a new mayor, she's come out, enjoyed. We got, I said the Yelp review. We have magazines come out, do articles on us. It's been really overwhelming. And I give all praise to God. Really, I do.
What would you say? You said, I mean, this environment could have been really hostile with you coming in. You said it's 98% white area. You're a Black owner in that space. We not only saw the pandemic, but like you said, we saw racial unrest in the past year. What is it that you think has allowed you to stand out, and why is it that that you're able to be positive? Why is that important to choose that space? A lot of folks wouldn't have chose to be in a place like that. Why did you choose to be there out of all places?
Well, I think the area chose me. Really, I really do. Again, we looked at several spaces, but when we prayed about this area and the location, this was the one that, you know, I believe that we were led to. But to be the only Black owned restaurant in this county, because, you know, you got Sacramento, we're in Placer County in Roseville, it's about 20 minutes outside of Sacramento. Mm-hmm. And to be the only Black restaurant in this area, I think the major part of it is our culture. I really, really do. Again, it's respect both ways. I don't care what's your political stance. In this restaurant, it's about love, it's about respect. So when we did have that social unrest, and it was huge, we had that social unrest come out here, but I would literally stand in front, so to speak, and say, hey, up in here, it's all about love. And when I tell you, in the middle of the dining room, if you just looked out at any moment and saw the different nationalities just laughing and having a good time and eating, and just that was beautiful. And that was the goal. And when you walk out that door, you can pick up your agenda and you can do what you want to do. But in here, we just here to break bread. We want to, you know, love on you, and everybody's going to get along, so to speak. So that's we did it successfully, and we're still doing it. But again, it's really about our culture, and it starts at the front door.
So it sounds like it's that oasis. You've created kind of a little oasis in the midst of people's lives and busyness and everything that's going on there around the country. It's being able to come to your restaurant is a place of oasis and experiencing love.
Well, we definitely try, and you know, it is a business. So we do have, in the restaurant business, I have a philosophy, and I call it my pyramid philosophy, where the three areas that we have to focus on is the ambiance, the food, and the service. And I think that if we can get that perfect pyramid, not an obtuse pyramid, not an oblong pyramid, just that perfect 90-degree angle pyramid, if we can hit those points nightly, then we'll be okay, really. And for our staff, with our culture and with that philosophy, that's what we focus on nightly. Those two things, we focus on those nightly. And with you know, my wife, who's the general manager, she walks around. I come out of the kitchen, I touch tables, I say hello to our guests. Again, we're building that relationship. And I think that's part of our culture, but that's what sets us apart from other restaurants. I don't want to be known as a Black-owned restaurant. I want to be known as a good restaurant that just so happens to be Black-owned.
Yeah.
That's my goal. That's my goal, is to be known as a good restaurant. And we've had guests both ways. We've had guests come in and say, you know, hey, I'm here. You know, I came out here because I heard it was Black-owned. I want to support Black-owned. Thank you very much. But ultimately, because I'm only good as my last plate, ultimately, I want you to enjoy your food. I want you to enjoy the ambiance. I want you to enjoy the service, because that's what's going to bring you back.
Yeah.
You're going to count up the cost to drive 30 minutes just because I'm a Black-owned restaurant. But if you enjoy those three pyramid points that I pointed out, if you enjoy those, then it makes it worth your while. So I want to be known as a good restaurant, just so happen to be Black-owned. And we also had guests that come in, had a great time, had no idea it was Black-owned. And that's the point, because in this industry, being a Black chef, working my way through the ranks, never been given an opportunity, always I applied for executive chef job, but I would get hired as a sous chef, had to work for them for months or years to prove to them I can do the job. And when they give me the job, you know, they make, you know, I have to work extended hours, extended, you know, days. So as someone that had to work my way through all of that to get here and be ranked or equal with my counterparts, that's reassuring. That's reassuring.
So my last question for you is, you just talked about some of that. You've had to overcome a lot just to get where you are. And now you're at a place where you're not only successful, but you're impactful. what is a lesson that you want to share with our audience, with, young adults, with folks who are trying to figure out how is it that I can be successful and impactful at the same time? What are some lessons that you would share, some advice that you might give?
I would say keep God first of all, and then just determination. Don't let other people tell you no when you know that there's a yes in you. Keep going. I've and I laugh about it because I've been not given jobs when I knew that I could do the job, but I've been not given jobs. Obviously, they didn't say it because I was Black, but they just wouldn't give me the opportunity. I got chef friends that have owned restaurants for years, and I would literally tell my wife, I was like, how did they get another restaurant? I don't know. Like, I'm a much better chef than they are. But but in all of that frustration, I just kept the grind. I just kept the hustle, and God's timing, this all came with no hassle. The way that we got this building, when the owner, I just asked for a tour of the building. And the owner, I had my kids with me, I had my wife with me, and the owner literally looked at me. He said, come over here, have a seat. He said, I don't know anything about you. He said, I don't even know if you could cook. He said, but I like this. And his words were, blind faith. I'm gonna give you the keys to this building, and I want you to go live your dream. Cook, enjoy yourself. That man walked out of the building, putting the keys in my hand. God is I could not make this up. We hadn't signed a lease or anything. So I fell to my knees and I just busted out in tears. Because finally, I felt that, God, you've given me an overwhelming blessing. So if that wasn't enough, I literally, within 45 minutes, there was a business person that I knew outside. And when she saw me, she said, Chef Q, what are you doing? I said, well, apparently I'm a restaurant owner now. I just got this restaurant. She literally said, great, I want to book a party there, and booked a 100-person party at that day before I even open up. Again, when God reassures you that when you move in his direction, he gives you reassurances that keep going, keep going. So all that does is build your faith. And it kept building my faith to say, okay, I'm on the right path, God. Yes, God, okay. So that was October the 12th. I chose, again, not trying to chase the dollar, but trying to do this wise and in God's order. I chose not to even open up. I just wanted to do private events and private parties. I wanted to build a name. Most of us would have just opened the doors and just tried to get people in because, oh, we got a restaurant. Yeah. But I had to build my culture. I had to build my team. I had to build what I wanted. So we chose to not open up. We did private events and catering events. We brought people in, but what that did was that got our name out into the community. It got us into the law offices and started doing all these, these private dinners. So then again, the choice was to open at the end of December, because being in the business for so long, I said, it'll give us time to build our culture. Because typically after the holidays, people don't go out to eat. People save money, New Year's resolution, all of that. This is obviously, nobody knew about COVID. But this was all done intentionally for me because I wanted to build slowly, or build in the dark. So that when the summer rolled around and everything opened, when the summer rolled around, people started coming out to eat. We got, we got all the mistakes out of the way. This is my mind. Mm-hmm. We opened on December the 27th. We did a private event, so we had a lot of people there. But that next Tuesday, and then the other thing is, I was intentional about staying closed on Sundays because I got to honor God. I mean, I had to honor God. I said, we're going to stay closed on Sundays. Again, all of my counterparts in the business, like, man, open on Sundays, it's the busiest day. You can make so much money, all of that. I said, no, God wants me to close on Sundays. He will make up the difference. So then, you know, so that first Tuesday, I think we served about 45 people. And I was happy. I was ecstatic. I was like, yeah, all right, yeah. I think by the weekend, we were up to like 65, 75 people. And I was like, this is a great start. That following week, before we opened, 4:40, we opened at 5. So that was the other thing. We chose to do dinners only, no lunches. Because I got to spend time with my family. That following Tuesday, there was a line out the door at 4:45. I looked at my wife, I said, what are those people out there for? She said, they come in here to the restaurant. I was like, wait, what? So, and then the pandemic hit. And, you know, everything, not just us, but it happened to the world, right? So the pandemic hit and we had to figure out, okay, what's next? Again, I had to pray about this. And I said, okay, God, what is next? We just opened. If we, you know, my menu wasn't really conducive to carry out. We tried some of those online order things, but we didn't have a big enough footprint for people to even order from us because we had just opened. So again, so what I did was just dissected my menu and I created family meals at a very affordable price. And we just flooded our social media, say, hey, we're doing these family meals. We know that you're at home with your kids and don't worry about dinner, leave that up to us. Come get these family meals. And it just took off. And then we started, you know, feeding the first line responders in the hospitals and offering discounts to them. And they came in after, you know, just shifts to get a family meal to take home. But again, it was really strategic. And it was purposeful. Perfect. I can't even say it. Yeah, purposeful. Yeah. So, but it was all meant to be. It really was.
Wow. I thank you so much for that. I mean, I honestly, I just gleaned so much from you, that perseverance that you had. And I almost got up and had to run around and shout. You talking about waiting on God and and then opening the door at the perfect time in the way that you needed. And oh my gosh, thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything else that you want to say? I mean, you shared a lot with us. Is there anything else you want to leave us with?
Now, Alan, I would just say, you know, I do appreciate your time. Thank you for having me on. And this has been awesome. And for anyone that's out there that's aspiring to come into this field, there's not many of us doing it at a level to where we can look up to. I would say find that person who you can ask those questions to. But I would also say this, Alan, that when we journey into entrepreneurship, not only skill, but we have to have the business side of our entrepreneurship. A lot of times, and especially in the restaurant world, there's a lot of Black and brown people that can cook, but they don't know the business of restaurant. You know, and to run your own business, you got to know the business. It's more than just a talent and a skill. You got to have the business side. So with our industry, you got to know the food costs. You got to know. You got to be personable. You got to talk to vendors. You got to negotiate prices. You got to know how to price things. So I would just say that to all of those that, you know, are watching this, that if you ever want to do an entrepreneurship, anything, it's more than just skill. It's more than a talent. You got to have the intelligence of the business you're trying to go into. And if you don't know it, learn it. Because skills is only going to take you so far. If I didn't have the knowledge to run a restaurant, I would still be cooking for someone else. So, yeah.
That's huge. Well, thank you so much again for your time, Chef Q. Again, Q1227 is outside of Sacramento, is making an impact. You've been tremendously successful, a man of faith, a good restaurant that happens to be Black owned. I love that. Thank you so much again for sharing with us, Chef Q.
Thank you, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.